Hello world, my name is Hannah and this is my world where I am going to be humble, open, and transparent about my journey as the wife, the mom, and the boss. Hello world and welcome back. So today, somebody come get these kids. I'm done, I'm through, I'm over this virtual learning guide life. I am over it. When's summer starting? I'm done. I really am. It's been a blessing. I'm not even gonna lie. It's been a blessing being at home with the kids for the past year and learning their different learning styles. Skylar and AJ are completely different. I, learned how to be a better advocate for them in the school system to make sure that they get the assistance that they need. It's funny because people have been putting up these memes and have been saying stuff all throughout the pandemic, right? In regards to parents, being their school's teachers or being their kids' teachers and saying things like, oh, now you know what the teachers go through. It's not even like that. I've really gotten to learn how my kids are. And first of all, let's just be real. Children are going to act differently with their parents than how they do with other people. Okay, that's just one. Children will act differently with their two parents. That's another thing. And I think for me, that's where I really feel like my buttons being pushed with my kids, especially my son, because AJ is a completely different child when his father is home being his learning guide versus when I'm home. Now, Anthony and I have two separate different teaching styles with the kids. Me, they're in the office with me. We share the office together. Their desks are against one wall. My desk is against another wall. So it's the three of us in this one room for a good 8 hours a day. And you're probably saying, Hannah, why are your kids in school for 8 hours when school is only 6? Well, first of all, they don't start their school day until 9 o'clock. And then secondly, they get breaks, which I think I probably give them more breaks than they need because I allow them to take a break after every assignment that they do. Plus they get a 30-minute lunch break. So by the time they're I'm almost done with my work day, this is when they're ending their school day as well. So anyways, I digress. But when I'm their learning guide, like I said, I'm in the room with them. So they see me, I'm very present. I'm on them whenever I see them getting distracted or when they're talking to each other too much or whatever, I'm there. Anthony has this kind of hands-off approach, right? His office is actually upstairs in the loft. So he will be up there, whether it's editing or, doing whatever he needs to do. Or sometimes he might be up there taking a quick little nap. Or he might be up there playing a video game. And I know you guys are probably like, dang, Hannah, you throwing him under the bus. I'm not. I'm just trying to show you how different our teaching styles are, right? So whether Anthony's here or not, I'm here because I'm working remotely. So Monday through Friday, I am here in the house. But there are days where he's off from work that he's home too. But because I am in the office with the kids and he's upstairs, guess who they still ask questions? Even though it's supposed to be my day off as a learning guide. There is no day off as a learning guide for mommy. Mommy is the learning guide Monday through Friday, sometimes on the weekends. Listen, there's no days off. And so anyways, I will have to say to them, dude, your father is here. Go upstairs. I will be in the middle of a Zoom meeting and AJ is like, Mommy, what does purpose mean? Mommy, what does responsibility mean? I'm like, seriously? You can't just go ask your daddy who is upstairs right now playing his video game? I am in a meeting. Can you please go to your father? And so finally he'll be like, because this is what happens. He knows that if he goes to his dad isn't just going to give him the answer. Anthony is one of those parents who are just like, no, I'm going to make you research the answer to figure it out. And that's not a bad thing. That's a great thing because it teaches them how to be resourceful, right? But for me, I don't make them go through all of that. For me, it's like, okay, I will, figure it out for them and say, okay, here. And so I give them the quick answers and they rather that. Or, Anthony will say, well, did you go through the lesson? I'm pretty sure that your lesson explains what this word is. Did you go? And I'll tell them to go through the lesson as well. But they've just gotten so used to me and how and it's my fault, y'all. It's really my fault because I have allowed the kids to become too dependent on me because I'm just there helping them. And I realize, the plan is for them to return back to in-person schooling in the fall. And so I've been trying really, really hard to get them out of this dependency upon me because I keep telling them, I'm not going to be at school with you. And your teachers are not going to let you call on them every 5 seconds to ask a question. You're going to have to figure this out for yourself. And so especially with AJ, it's just like when I tell y'all that this little boy called my name like every 10 seconds, I wanted to throw a pencil at him. That's horrible to say. I'm his mother and I love him. But I literally, because where he sits, he is right in my trajectory where I could have picked up one of my pens and just whop, just got him in the back of the head. But I didn't. I had restraint. I didn't throw a pen at my son. I didn't say anything. I calmed myself down. But that's how he be making me feel sometimes because I'm like, can I change my name? Why do you keep calling me? Like, I kicked him out of the office maybe 3 or 4 times last week because I was like, I'm tired of you calling my name. Like, stop calling my name. What do you want? It was intense, y'all. It was intense. And I'm over it. I'm really over it. Yes, God has given me the grace to get through this. And it has kept me because we've been at this for the past year. But I am literally counting down the days till summer vacation because I'm just like, I need to be done with this. It's getting more. And I think it's also because there's an added level of stress with this whole FSA. Oh my gosh. FSA is like a mess. So I realized, because you hear about it in school, right? So, because I was a substitute teacher years ago. And I remember, I think I was subbing right around the time where they were prepping for FSA. And I realized that like the curriculum was all based off of preparing these kids how to take this test. That's all it was about. But being on this side of it as a parent and then also doing like the whole virtual school, it was like a flip of the switch because last semester it wasn't all about this FSA. And maybe it could have been because at the time the school board still hadn't decided whether or not they were going to have the kids take the test. But yet still they were telling teachers prepare to give them the test because we don't know. But like literally as soon as January hit, all of a sudden I'm getting these emails from the kids' teachers about FSA prep. And like the week or 2 weeks leading up to them taking it, because they took the first half of the FSA, I think like last week, but leading up to it, every single day there was a live lesson on FSA prep for AJ. And then for Skyland's class, there was FSA prep, like the tutoring turned into FSA prep, the live lessons turned into FSA prep, and she has it for both math and for ELA. And I was just like, this is ridiculous. Like, this is a lot. And having to make sure that I had it on the schedule for when they needed to go. And then having to take them in because even though they were virtual school, they still had to go into the office. So I think that just added another level of stress for me with this whole FSA pressed up because even for me, I was like, wait a second, the kids in the school, they're actually getting practice tests, like where you go into the classroom and the teacher's like, okay, go drop your book bags off, over here or keep them at your desk. All right, sit down. Let's practice. I'm going to start the time. You guys don't touch the booklets until after I read all the instructions and then you break. Like my kids didn't have any of that. There was none of that. And I didn't think about that until because they did have an FSA overview for the parents with virtual school. And so I attended it for both Skyland and for AJ. And I think it was inside of AJ's class where a parent was like, well, I have a concern because my child doesn't sit still very well. And because they've been in virtual school, they haven't had to. And immediately my mind went to AJ, and I was just like, this boy don't sit still for nothing. Like, he stands up at his desk just for no reason. And I thought about, oh my goodness, is he gonna know like that he has to stay still? He has to wear a mask the entire time. He's been home. He hasn't had to wear a mask. Is he going to pay attention and wait for them to tell him to open it? Because AJ Speedy Gonzalez, he's trying to get through everything. So my mind ran through all of this stuff inside of the meeting. And so the teacher was like, just remind them that they have to sit still, practice wearing your mask throughout the day. So I eventually had to start doing that. Like, I wasn't thinking about doing that. It wasn't until this overview that these additional questions from parents came up that I was like, I probably should be thinking about this. Nobody said anything to me. I mean, I'm hearing it now, but still at the same time, I was just like, I feel unprepared for this. And I just want to make sure that my children do the best that they can. And now it's not over. They have another week of FSA testing the first week of May. And so it's still that whole preparation and working on portfolios and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, I am so over this. Yes, hats off to the teachers out there who do this. But I also want to put this out there. Like, I commend them. I have much respect for teachers. You guys do an awesome job. And some better than others. Because let's be real. There's some teachers out there, this is a paycheck for you. You're not really trying to change lives. But it's okay. No judgment. I understand. But there are teachers out there who are really trying to make a difference and impact a child's life and do what they can. So you have both sides of the spectrum, okay? But one of the things that I will say as a parent who has been put in a situation where I have had to be a teacher to my children for the past year, I was not trained for this. I did not go to school for this. This is not what I signed up for. This is not what I wanted to do. If I wanted to be a teacher, I would have went to school to be a teacher so I could have been trained on how to educate a child. It's different being, because yes, as a parent, I am my child's first teacher. But it is different in teaching your children life and how to be a good human being, a good Samaritan, versus trying to teach them these core subjects. It's completely different. It's not the same. For example, today, Anthony was going over math with Skyland, and he was saying, yeah, it's kind of complicated, but it's not. And I'm like, what? And he was like, well, Hannah, you probably couldn't figure this out. And at first, I was like, are you like low-key insulting me right now? Even AJ came over to me like, it's all right, Mom. Pat me on my back like, it's all right, Mommy. Daddy shouldn't have said that. And he was like, no, I'm not trying to be funny. He's just saying like, you probably wouldn't understand how to do this either. So I came over, not because I was trying to prove anything, but I was trying to understand what it was that he was teaching her. And when I tell y'all that this math, it was simple, yet like he said, complicated, I was like, oh my gosh, this is frustrating. Because it was one of those things where it's kind of like in a pyramid. You have these balls. So first there's one dot, and then you move it and the dot moves up, and then there's two dots underneath it, and it just keeps going and going. And so Skylar needed to figure out how many dots total would it be by the time she gets to term 9. And so the way that Anthony was teaching her, I was just like, that just seemed really complicated. And so the way that I figured it out was like, oh, okay, it makes sense if I add backwards. And when I said that, Skyland looked at me like, what? We were just all types of confused, but I understood my confusion to get the right answer. Anthony understood it the way that he was explaining it to her. And I think Skylar ended up understanding it based off the way her father was teaching her. But at the end of the day, this is what I'm talking about. It was complicated. Like for me, I can understand it for myself to get the right answer. But to explain it to a 10-year-old so that she can fully comprehend it and be able to get the right answer, and that frustrates me because I feel like I am like holding her back in a way because I don't know how to teach this to her. And it makes it difficult as a parent because, yeah, in the back of my mind, I'm wondering, and they've been talking about this in the news. They've been talking about this in the schools. If you've attended any, school board meeting in regards to, the upcoming academic year or this academic year, you've heard them talking about the educational gaps that they're concerned about. Listen, it ain't even about whether or not there's going to be one. There is one. There's going to be an educational gap because you have parents who are not teachers who just understand math for themselves or understand English, social studies, and science for themselves, trying to explain it to their kids. And they're not necessarily using these core curriculums, whether you provide it to us or not, because it's just like, oh, okay, I understand it, and I'm just going to explain it to them the way that it makes sense to me. Like Anthony had this whole world history class with the kids, and it was great because he was using toys to break down the executive branch and the legislative branch and everything for them, and they learned a lot. But it had nothing to do, I won't say nothing, but what he was teaching them exactly was not the lesson. The lesson was about them learning about the government, but Anthony went so far beyond that in teaching them because he was excited. They were excited because of the way that he was, teaching it to them using toys and everything and breaking it down. Like they were fully engaged, but it wasn't quite the lesson. And there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, it's just like, okay, based off of this lesson, were they able to answer their questions when they got to their assignment? They did. But it wasn't how the school was teaching them. And so for me, I just feel like that's where that gap is, because the school system has their own way that they want the kids to learn certain things, like, with this certain way of doing math or this certain way of writing. And I haven't, been in school for a while, like to remember all of these different things, like a proper preposition, and English was my subject in school. I was good at it. But at this point now, when you don't use something on a regular basis, you forget what all that stuff means. You just know how to speak with proper grammar, or you know how to write with proper grammar. Even there's times where I may not, and I may have a run on, and it's like, ooh, that's a very long sentence. Let me reword this. But teaching this stuff to kids, I have a headache just talking about it, y'all. Like, it's a lot, and I'm over it. I just really am. I am so over it. I am ready for this school year to be over. And it's funny because even one of the elective teachers, she said, I just really want the kids to get through my class because my class is not as important. They don't even get a letter grade in my class. They get either an S or a U. And she was like, I really want them to just go ahead and get through the assignment so that they can focus on the FSA. This is from one of the elective teachers, because it's just like at this point right now, all the whole focus is on getting these kids past FSA. But this is the difference that I also see between virtual school and regular school. Like in regular school, I don't know, are they still giving kids regular assignments, homework assignments to do at home, or regular assignments inside of the classroom, or is everything set up right now just strictly on FSA and that's all that they're focused on? Because that's not the case with virtual school. Virtual school, they still have their assignments that are due every single week, and then on top of that, they have all this FSA prep and all these different live lessons. And I'm just like, this is overwhelming. This is overwhelming for me as an adult. I can only imagine how my kids feel, and I try my best to not overwhelm them throughout the day, but it's like I low-key be freaking out when these assignments don't get done. Like, because last week was FSA and there were 3 or 2 days out of the week that AJ had to go. Skyline only had to go 1 day, but a lot of her focus was on getting FSA done, that she ended up getting a little behind pace with her math. But check this out. If all of the assignments, or not all of the assignments, if all of the focus was on FSA, why did we give, and I'm saying we, but why did the virtual school, or why were the lessons set up for this particular week that you guys were going to have FSA, and you knew that we were going to have FSA because it's on the pacing guide, and you gave us the pacing guide at the beginning of the semester. So if you knew that FSA testing was going to take a priority, or that that's where you wanted the kids to focus, why were 5 assignments given in one subject? How much sense does that make? That doesn't make any sense to me. So that kind of stuff frustrates me, and this is why I'm just like, I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm ready for the kids to go back to face. I want them to enjoy their summer break. And so as a parent, I plan this summer to truly give my kids the best summer possible before they return to face. One, they did not have a summer last summer. Two, they've been working their butts off in this virtual school. Like, I give it to my kids. Kids are very resilient. They adapt very well. And truly, even though they've been getting on my nerves, I'm pretty sure I've been getting on their nerves too. It's been the 3 of us in this house for majority of the day, and I'm pretty sure that they love their mom, and they're just like, this has been great because, before the pandemic, we didn't get to spend this much time with you. But you know what? It's overrated now, mommy. I'm pretty sure they're like, it's overrated. I'm ready to go back and see my friends and be around other people other than you. Like, I think we need some time apart. I'm pretty sure that my kids may feel this way, and it's all right, because it's overrated for me too, y'all. I'm ready for us to go ahead and have our time away from each other for a little bit. They say absence makes the heart grow fonder. Let's separate a little bit so that we can rediscover that fondness that we have, because we've been together like every single day in this house. Literally, my kids and I, it is a field trip for us to go to the grocery store. That's how it is, because we haven't had to go anywhere. But it's just, I can feel, how when they talk about like senioritis, when you know that you're about to be a senior in high school, or when you know that vacation is coming up and all of a sudden it's just like hard to focus. I really think that's what's happening to the kids and myself right now. We are in that senioritis, vacation is about to come mode, where it's just like, it's hard to focus, because when I tell you that I have had to talk to them more than once throughout the day, it's just like, y'all, seriously. So I told y'all I give them a 30-minute lunch break. Well, before, I was allowing them to watch television during their lunch break. These little jokers would hear Google go off. So like, they set the Google timer. Hey, Google, set the timer for 30 minutes. Google will go off after 30 minutes. And they be like, hey, Google, thank you, so that the alarm goes off. You think they came back into the room to finish their schoolwork? Nah, they stayed out here watching TV, because they know, oh, mommy's on a Zoom call right now, so she's not paying attention to us. I'm in my Zoom meeting, and I'm like, yo, it's been a minute since the kids came back in here. I look at the time. It's been a whole hour and a half. They still out here watching the Thundermans. Like, seriously? So I came out here. Yeah, I fussed. I was just like, y'all, for real? Like, you taking advantage of the fact that I'm in a Zoom call right now. I need you to go back and finish your schoolwork. And this has happened more than one time. So by the 3rd time that this happened, I was like, you know what? No more TV during lunchtime. Y'all lost your privileges. Matter of fact, no TV during any of your breaks. Y'all are probably saying, why were you letting them watch TV during the breaks anyway? Because that's what I was doing. That's my business, like Tabitha Brown would say. That is what I did. I gave my kids a TV break. Like, listen, they've been cooped up in the house. They've been going to school online. And I get it, Hannah, that's more screen time. I understand that, but what else am I supposed to do, y'all? I'm working remotely as well. I'm in and out of meetings. I'm answering emails. They're taking a break. It's a 5-minute break. And it to me, it doesn't even make sense. Why would you start watching a show in 5 minutes when you know that's going to go off? But it was making them happy. It was keeping them content. It was allowing sanity to happen in our house. That's how we were functioning. But I got rid of the TV because I was just like, okay, now y'all starting to take advantage of it. So now you need to find something else to do during your break time, because, yeah, TV's not going to work. No more TV until after school is over. So I've learned my lesson. They've learned theirs. But listen, we've gotten through a whole year up until these little shenanigans started happening, because this started happening within the last, I want to say, maybe 2 to 3 weeks. So I really think it's because they realize that it's time to start winding down and summer vacation is about to start. And I'm with them. I'm like, look, I'm tired too. I'm over this. Uh, I've been asked, how do I feel about, having to return back to work come this fall, and about the kids going back to school. And, it's not even so much where I'm like, I'm afraid of COVID or anything like that. It's not that at all. I know that I've just gotten comfortable to not having to commute to work. I've gotten comfortable with, being able to get up, get dressed, and, come downstairs and start my work day, or be able to get a load of laundry done while I'm at home, or if I, wanted to take a quick nap on my lunch break or something. It's been luxurious, having the flexibility and being able to do stuff like that. So that not having that flexibility anymore is one of the things that I would say that I am not looking forward to and having to return. But all in all, because of what I've had to deal with personally, and I know everybody's boat is different. We've all been in this storm together, but we're all traveling by different vessels. And in my vessel, I just know that right now, I'm done. Stick a fork in me. I'm done. I'm ready. I'm really ready, because it's just, this has not been easy. It hasn't, but it's been a blessing. It has been great. I wouldn't change what my family and I have been through this past year for anything. We have had so many laughs. We've had so many moments. I have gotten to know my kids better. Like I said, I've learned their learning style. So let a teacher come and tell me, about my children. I'll be like, listen, I have been with them for a year. I know why they do what they do. My son, if you don't do something that keeps him engaged, he's going to be talking to you about random stuff, because that's what he does. It's not that he's a bad kid, or that he's, I don't know what has one of his teachers say. She's just like, he's very extra. Yeah, he is extra. But if you don't do something that's going, or you're not engaging him in his activity, then he's going to be extra, because he's going to entertain himself, and he's going to entertain everybody else who's around him. He's an entertainer. That's what he does. That's a part of his personality. My daughter, on the other hand, she's the quiet one. She's reserved. She'll sit back. She won't say anything to you, so you won't even know what's wrong. But I think being in this environment, it has taught her to be a little bit more outspoken and to ask for help when she needs it. So I have learned my children. And like I said, it has taught me how to be a better advocate for them in regards to what they need, and not just allow a teacher to tell me, what's going on. I've had an opportunity to observe them for myself, but I'm not going to be fooled or naive. I do know that children act differently with their parents than they do with other people. So there might be some different things that happen. My kids have tried to bulldoze over me because I'm, a little bit more lenient with them. But all in all, it's like, y'all, I wasn't born yesterday, and I be getting on them. But I love them. I'm just ready for this virtual experience to end. I'm tired of the assignments. I'm tired of, having to split my attention on 2 different assignments for 2 different grade levels and 2 different children, as well as do my work. Like, it has been a lot. There's been a lot going on in this head. It's been a lot on my plate to try and manage. So to eventually be able to push that off and allow them to kind of just have a moment to just be kids and have fun. And I know that you're probably saying, oh, well, you definitely want to keep them learning. And I will. I did last summer. We did IXL last summer with the kids and had them do at least 2 hours a day in IXL. And we'll probably do the same thing this summer. But am I going to let my kids be kids this summer? Most definitely, because they deserve it. They need a break just as much as mommy needs a break. We all need a break. That's what this is about right now. We all need a break. And if you can feel me, please leave a comment. Let me know that you can relate and you understand what I'm talking about. Or you can send a listener letter to hannahsworld@00@gmail.com. You can always connect with me on Hannah's World on Facebook or Hannah's World 00 on Instagram. So as normal, I hope you got something out of today's episode. It was truly great just sharing with you guys all the craziness that's been going on in here. But until next time, peace out, world.